Jim, what are we looking at here?
This is 1957 Chevy Bel Air two-door hardtop.
In 1957, the average yearly wage was $4,500. Gas was at 24 cents a gallon. The hit at the box office was Jailhouse Rock with Elvis Presley, and to help enforce the speed limit, the portable radar device was developed.
This Bel Air has a lot more detail that maybe a 210 has. What do those details consist of?
Well, kind of the couple things you'll notice right from the beginning is the gold trim on the Chevy emblems and the gold in the grille.
How did you find this?
Well, it happened to be a guy that worked for my dad back in the 70s bought this car brand new. And I, at that time, was 9 or 10 years old. And when it came time for him to sell it, he sold it to me.
When you were 9 and 10, you knew you wanted this car?
Well, I really liked it, and he'd let me sit in the driver's seat, steer the steering wheel, and you know, it's kind of one of those things.
So nobody else wanted it. You were the only person who wanted this car?
There's lots of people wanted this car.
Then how did you get it?
I don't know. I guess he just liked me.
It helps to be kind of a teacher's pet, doesn't it?
That's right.
Tell me the details you've done to the engine.
This car here, I took a basically stock 350. We bored the cylinders, put a nice cam in it, intake, carburetors, kind of some basics on it, you know, to where it probably does 400, 450 horsepower.
400, 450 horse?
Yeah, so it runs nicely.
You beefed it up.
We beefed it up. We went with an overdrive transmission in it too, so.
But this color, I mean, it looks like a stock 57 Chevy color, but there's something different that I can't put my finger on. What is it?
Well, the body shop knew that I wanted a car that was going to pop when people see it, when it's in the sunlight or when it's under lights. So they enhanced it a little bit. We went with the stock Sierra gold paint with the Dolby beige top, but they put a little bit of pearl in there and eliminated some of the metallic to make the paint pop.
A couple things I want to talk about on the 57s. They're really unique. First off, your air vents. They're above the headlights.
Yes.
Tell me what that's all about.
Well, it's the way back then, most cars did not have air conditioning, so they had to get air into the car. So they designed the air vents to go up above the headlights and through ducting, through the fenders, and then into the car.
How about the gas tank? Same thing?
Gas tank's got the gas tank filler lid that you pop open that most people back then couldn't figure out how to put gas in it.
That had to be a nightmare when somebody first bought a car trying to find, how do I fill this thing up? You have a girlfriend, right? Does she enjoy the car as much as you do?
She does. She didn't appreciate it at first. She didn't see the attraction to this car.
She didn't see okay, I'm turning my attention to her. You did not see the attraction of this? Okay, for you who didn't hear this, she's attracted to him, not the car. Sweet, but this is a 57 Chevy. Oh, but so it swayed her?
But it did. As we go to these car shows, and then the other night I was waxing it, and she finally says, "That's really a pretty car."
Yeah? Wait a minute. The competition now. You or the car?
Well, I don't know. I think she's kind of leaning towards the car now.
It's worth more.
Yeah, worth more than me, that's for sure.
I'm just kidding. Well, Jim, it's a great looking car. Thanks for letting us see it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
When we arrived today and I saw all these great looking cars and trucks, I thought to myself, how does a person even go about judging one of these sweet rides? So I'm gonna find Michael Howell, a judge at the Park City Chill, and get some answers. So Mike, tell me about what you first look at when you start judging a car.
Well, the first thing you do is you have to figure out what classification it is and what you're judging. So what you want to look at is you want to look at the detail of the vehicle. You want to look at the engineering of the vehicle. The cleanliness, of course, is always something that you want to take into consideration because that's where you score a lot of the points, is how much time this person's put into it and thought they put into the vehicle.
So you talk a little bit about consistency. How do you stay consistent within a class or within the show?
For instance, if you're judging the paint detail on the car, if say you're judging 3 cars and they all have gorgeous paint jobs just from 5 feet away, but when you take a closer look is where you start to see the small imperfections.
Right.
Whether it's a dent or a scratch or say a hood line didn't come down right and you saw a chip. So then it falls into a different category. So you don't want to count that off as the detailed paint, but there'll be another part of your judging where that will come into, which is your alignment. Your alignment caused that chip, so that's where you want to take the points off. You don't want to take the points off on both.
So you're talking about taking points off. I think there's some misconceptions when it comes to judging. It's not necessarily about getting points, but about the deductions. Is that correct?
On most shows, especially judge shows where you have a point system, you actually go in reverse. You take the points off if there's a flaw or defect in that particular part of that judging, which you're judging the whole car, but in subcategories.
So this point system is kind of like my marriage and my husband. He doesn't earn points for doing things well, but when he sure ticks me off, the deductions come into play, right?
That's correct.
There we go.
Actually, no, we can't use that as a good example.
No?
Simply because that's judgmental in a different way.
Oh, I see it.
You're counting against them because of an attitude problem.
I am excited about today, and I think we should go judge a car. What do you think?
Sure.